Coming soon in this episode.
Hello! My name is Filqon, and welcome back to my most ambitious project/series to date, where I'll be building all of Mario Odyssey in Minecraft. Cap Kingdom, Cascade Kingdom, and Sand Kingdom have all been completed in previous videos, and today, I will be completing the Lake Kingdom. If you wish to skip to the final product, you can skip to the timestamp on screen now. Just know you are deeply hurting my feelings, and I will never forgive you. Unless you subscribe, in which case, I'll love you forever. Into the building! Starting things off with what I'm calling Area 1 of this kingdom, my goal as always is to get the basic shape down with all the key landmarks in place. As usual with these kingdoms, I always like to save the minor details for the end and just start with the basics, so keep that in mind as you enjoy the rest of the time lapses. With the basics of Area 1 complete, it was time to move on to Area 2. This section was significantly easier, with the only real hurdle being that stupidly shaped pool. I hate you. And having completed Area 2, I began work on by far the biggest section of this build. This area presented many struggles, as I found it very difficult to properly gauge the scale of each landmark and the distance between them with all the open space in this section. I quite literally busted out the ruler for this one. Several times. Damn you, perfectionist brain. Having finished the upper part of Area 3, it was time to go down. With work finally beginning on what is arguably the focal point of the entire kingdom, the dome! With that being said, I started off by building literally everything but the dome itself. Sorry, that dome was a nightmare. Correction, that dome gave me nightmares. Genuinely took me just as long to perfect the shape of the dome as it did to build everything inside it. So many regrets. Anyways, dome-related trauma aside, I continued working on the rest of the underwater bits. Also, now feels like a good time to remind you that the block palette you see me building with is not necessarily the block palette you'll see in the final product. Just like the smaller details, I just like to get a basic layout down first before spending more time finding the perfect color design and match later. And now, for the glue that brings this whole build together, the walls. This, unsurprisingly, made a massive difference in turning this project into one cohesive build. Another part of the build I almost completely forgot about was the corridor thingies that connect Area 1 and 3. Which at last brings us on to the final time-lapse of this video, the upper walls. These walls are a crucial element of the Leg Kingdom aesthetic that I was initially concerned might highlight any scale or perspective failures I made in the rest of the build. In the end though, it doesn't look too bad, and it left me with a nearly finished kingdom. Of course, now that the walls are in place, I could get the roof in and cap off this kingdom. But that's not all quite yet. As promised earlier, I'd revisit the block palette to make things look more accurate. Most notably, this just meant changing all the sandstone into stone brick, as it's more of a gray in-game. Unfortunately, and unexpectedly, this took way too long to do. Commands did the heavy lifting, but I used a lot of the debug stick in this build, and switching the blocks reset all of that. So, not fun. But alas, it's done. The only other thing that changed block palette wise is the walls, as in-game they don't stay one bluish color, and in fact are much closer to the color of smooth sandstone for much of the walls. I also had to build the Captain Toad area that I entirely forgot existed, so here's that. At last, it was time to add all the little details. This was primarily things like armor stands, bushes, and fishies, and really helped to liven up the place.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Dory!
No, not that Dory. This Dory! Absolute Giga Chad. I can't put my finger on it, but it feels like the Lake Kingdom is missing something. Oh yeah, maybe it's the lake. And with all that liquidy goodness in place, it is finally complete. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, may I present to you the Lake Kingdom. Woo! I am so happy this build is done. This one took a really long time to get together. I know it's a lot smaller than the Sand Kingdom, but like, overall, it took me longer to put together in real life. So apologies for that. I'm gonna try and be quicker and more consistent with these Odyssey videos. They're just, believe it or not, quite a lot of work. Takes much more effort than anything else I do on this channel. So, as always, if you appreciate the effort or like the video, a subscription and a like and some thoughts down below means the world to me. And really helps convince me to keep going with this project because it is huge. And seeing all the comments and likes I get on these videos really helps encourage me to keep going. Anyway, all that annoying stuff aside, let's get into a tour. There's not a whole lot going on in this first area, but we got our Odyssey. The wall is looking all pretty. Got all the entities that meet you along the way. A very simple version of the goggles. And we got our little platform over here with this thingy, whatever you want to call that. All of this was pretty easy. No big deal here. If we go on up the stairs, oh, see, those didn't fix when I anyways, fix that later. You come up the stairs, find your way up here. You've got all these Goombas, which look super realistic, if you ask me. Like, best work of the whole kingdom. You got our Lakitu, little painting. Don't look down there. There may or may not actually be a painting down there. Moving on up here, we got our little platform. This area that you can't actually access in-game at all without teleporting. So, you know, when this map becomes downloadable, good luck getting up here. But moving on, we got this little platform. The main boss fight section, which shouldn't have a crafting table there. You can ignore that. Got all these platforms, which I eventually broke down. If you watch the time lapse, they're not perfect anymore, as they should be. We got our little secret area over here. This curvy thing, which was the death of me, like, oh, you have no idea how much trouble this little staircase brought me. It was bad, but it's all done now. The nightmares are over. We can make our way down into the dome, which looks much better with the connected glass texture. So, big bonus there. And Plessy, of course. Sorry, no. And we have Dory, of course, who is really the highlight of this whole build, if you ask me. I love how this turned out. I wasn't sure how good I'd be able to recreate her, or him, whatever it is, but I feel like I did a good job. Very cute. Adds a lot of life into this area. Either way, moving on to the dome, we're gonna fly on in. It is, of course, all drained out. All our little peoples in here, little corridors, all that good stuff. You make your way up here. Wow, I really did a poor job of making sure this thing was cleaned up before I started recording. Anyway, this hole shouldn't be here. We got our little glass section with the pretty lady, of course. Another flag here. Got the cap shop. That definitely exists. I'm not going to show you, but trust me, it's there, bro. Trust. We can make our way up to the top. We've got our little snails that I couldn't build very well because they're like half the size of a normal person, so I just made them glazed terracotta. Worked out in the end. And we, of course, have Captain Toad all the way down at the bottom here, which I definitely didn't almost forget about. Yeah, he's just chilling, minding his own business, no big deal. And we can make our way back outside the dome, into the water. And yeah, it's pretty boring down here, not gonna lie. Dory really brings the place together. Just some rubble, some barrels, some fishies. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. Come up here, more fishies, more rubble, blah, blah, blah. And we can make our way into the corridors, which are also kind of bland, but hey, here they are. Got our little coral enemies that are kelp, really, in the game that attack you. Make our way up here. We got our death trap, a little chest up here. Make our way around this hallway. More death traps. Secret room. Not really secret, it's out in the open, but you get what I mean. And this, of course, connects up to the first area, right up here. And that is the entirety of the Lake Kingdom. You've seen the whole thing. Congratulations. That also means you've made it to the end of the video. Stay tuned for the Wooded Kingdom, which we have coming up next. And, of course, all the other content I do, which is still good. Check it out. I promise you'll like it. And with that, I will say goodbye. You can now enjoy some comparison photos between my version of Light Kingdom and the real game. Peace!
Subscribe.
Do it.